And we have none other than Dr. Omkar Rai with us, who is Director General of STPI. And before breaking for tea, I will request Dr. Omkar Rai Great. Okay. So let us, because we were actually running short of time, so I thought. So I will request, sir, if Dr. Rai is ready. Oh, sir. So please welcome Dr. Omkar Rai with a round of applause, please. Sir. Sir.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I am immensely pleased to be part of this Elite Knowledge Exchange Forum, Goa 2015. And I am thankful to the organizer, the government of Goa and Elites, for giving me an opportunity to be present with you today. The Software Technology Parks of India was basically, I would say, established in 1989 as a sequel to a government resolution that was passed in 1986. While that resolution, the government, the then Department of Electronics, Government of India, had resolved and envisioned that in times to come, the India is poised to be a great destination for the development and promotion of IT industry across the country. They could foresee that world is moving towards sourcing model, and the demand of IT and IT services is going to grow in a very tremendous manner, and to meet the needs of the entire world, they thought to prepare India to meet those requirements and create job for the countrymen. And therefore, the Software Technology Parks of India was established at 4 places in this country. And thereafter, based on the success, in 1991, a unified society was created. And thereafter, if we look at in year 2015, STPI is 53 centers strong organization across the country. We have also in pipeline 10 more centers, and in times to come, within 2-3 years, we'll add up 10 more centers, and then the number of centers of STPI will reach to 63. What I'm trying to underline is that the STPI has played a very, very phenomenal role in promotion of IT industry and supporting the exporting IT industry in every manner. STPI essentially is a statutory organization too, because STPI acts as a single window clearance system for the software exporters. And in addition to that, way back in 1989, we were also licensed to run internet services to the software exporters. The first client that India had, the STPI had, was the Texas Instrument, which was given the internet bandwidth by our STPI Bangalore Center. And that is how the TI, the Texas Instrument, was retained within India because of that service. Every STPI center is typically an incubation center too, where we host the startup companies, the small companies, and provide all kind of support, including the infrastructure support for development of software and export of software. And therefore, the journey which started in 1989 had reached to a destination where we can feel proud and we can inform the gathering, and most of the people know that the kind of service that STPI has extended to the IT industry across the country. If you look at the statistics, in year 2013-14, the STPI registered units have exported in the tune of 1,73,000 crore. The India's total export in the IT and ITS services has been in the tune of $86 billion, and the major portion has been contributed by STPI registered units. But the growth which were at the level of more than 20% in last decade has now reduced to more than about just somewhere 10 to 12%, and therefore the government of India is taking measures to not only sustain the growth but also to see that the growth is consistent and creates job for the young graduates. STPI in recent times has taken many important decisions, and one of the most important decision is that we are creating enough infrastructure across the country for supporting the startup companies, for supporting the small companies, and for providing all those services to the startup companies, to the companies which are into the creation of product. And that is how we have decided to develop 20 lakhs square feet of space within 2 years' time in most of the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of this country. The policy under which the STPI operate is called foreign trade policy, and alongside to promote the IT parks in the country, the Department of Electronics and IT has also come up with the infrastructure developers policy, under which, because it was thought that STPI alone cannot meet the infrastructure requirement of the software exporters and software developers, and that is how to seek the private investment in this sector, the ISP policy was created by the Department of Electronics and IT, under which the private developers were given all kind of incentives to develop infrastructure. And that is how, apart from the SEZs that is promoted by Department of Commerce, you can see non-SEZ IT park mostly supported by the Department of Electronics. And STPI implements that ISP scheme for the Government of India. If you look at the entire business that India has right now, India has the share of entire sourcing business in the entire world in the tune of 60%. And that percentage is growing year on year. But still, we have a lot of achievement to make, a lot of business to seek from entire world. And we have to continue to keep us alive to the requirement of rest of the world and capture major sourcing business, and for which the state governments, the STPI and the IT industry at large has to act as a stakeholder and work together to see that India remains as a preferred outsourcing destination in the entire world. Apart from that, if you look at the entire product business, the entire IT business, we don't have that much share. And therefore, in times to come, the India has to transform itself from the service industry to service-oriented industry to product industry too. And in these times, it's very important that when the e-governance is growing across the country, we are talking about smart cities, we are talking about digital India, we are talking about digitization of almost all the services. And in these times, if we could link the entrepreneurship, the product development with the consumption that are going to come because of implementation of these programs, we can do miracle and wonders, and we can promote entrepreneurship and value creation within this country. Because if we suppose, just for an example, that if we talk about smart cities and the governments at large, at each state, they work with the industry, they define the problem, they talk about products and fund the entrepreneurs to develop those products, which can be in turn consumed by the smart cities in times to come, then we will be saving a lot of money, which would be basically, which would be required to be spent in terms of import that we'll do in making our cities smart. So therefore, if we, alongside our policy decisions, if we could link it with entrepreneurship and promote the product creation promote the startup companies to come up with the product, and those products can in turn be consumed by us. It will create a virtuous cycle across the country for the promotion of product creation, for creation of job, for creation of wealth, and returning all those wealth within this country. With this, I would say that the government of Goa has done a very commendable job with coming up draft IT policy. They have also earmarked a lot of land and space for IT parks in the state, and STPI is also set to open its first office, its first IT park, and I am sure that STPI will play soldier to soldier alongside with the government of Goa for the promotion of IT industry in Goa. With this, I would thank the organizer once again and would be open for any questions from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Omkar Rai, Deputy Director General of STPI. I request Mrs. Shilpa Shinde, Secretary IT, Government of Goa, to present a memento to Dr. Rai, please, as a token of thanks and appreciation for such a wonderful remarks by Dr. Rai. So, a round of applause for DG STPI once. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, once again. With this, we break for 10 minutes of tea break, and then we will come back with a discussion on investment in Goa.
In the hall. Welcome back, all of you. So without any delay now, we start with the session of discussion for investment opportunities and challenges. And it's a great pleasure for us that we have Sri Subhash Desai, Chairman, Infotech Corporation Goa Limited with us. Sir is also a member of, respected member of Legislative Assembly. So sir, I request you to please join us on stage. Chairman, Infotech Corporation Goa Limited. A round of applause for sir. I also request respected Chief Secretary, Government of Goa, Shri R.K. Srivastav, to please join us on stage. And a round of applause for Mr. Srivastav, please. I request Dr. Omkar Rai, Director General, STPI, to please join us. A round of applause for Dr. Rai, please. I request Srimati Shilpa Shinde, Secretary IT, Department of IT, Government of Goa, to please join us on stage. Shri Rajiv Vaishnav, Vice President of NASSCOM. Sir, I request you to join us. A round of applause for Mr. Rajiv Vaishnav. With this, I request Honorable Chairman, Infotech Corporation Goa Limited, to kindly chair this session.
Once again, I welcome you for this session on investors meet. I once again welcome all the panelists here, and may I request you all, if you have any queries. In the morning session we had unveiling of draft of IT policy, and as regards to that, all the investors who raise their any doubts, queries as regards to investment in Goa, and we look forward your queries so that we can answer you and you get satisfied with all your doubts. And it's because of that, let us begin this session. And once again, I welcome you all, and let us begin this session.
Respected Chair, my fellow colleagues on the dais, and respected delegates, the draft of new IT policy is before you. Honorable Chief Minister has already invited suggestions, comments from all concerned, not only who are present here, but this policy which has been already been transmitted by ELETS to many of the companies in the country and abroad. We would welcome suggestions, comments for improving it further. I am sure that with the announcement of this policy draft, the state government has paved the way for investments and creating an investor-friendly climate for investment in IT and ITES sector. This is the first step towards making the dream of the government possible. The Union government and the Honorable Prime Minister is talking of Digital India. I am sure this government is very, very keen to achieve all the targets set for us, and we are sure that after the Investment Promotion Board, which was created by this government for facilitating and garnering at least 25,000 crore worth investment over next 5 years, which also aims to provide 50,000 jobs opportunities for the Goans, I am sure that this sector is going to open up many new avenues for investment. Goa is known for tourism. Earlier it was known for iron ore extraction and export. Now this is the third leap, which I am sure is going to contribute to the major portion of the GDP of the state. Please come, invest, enjoy, and contribute to the overall growth of not only the state of Goa, but to the growth of the country. Thank you.
So, if there are any questions, any queries, apart from the one-on-one discussions which you had with Department of IT, you can express here, and you can ask the key people here sitting. And I request all the panelists to because you also had throughout the day many queries and many points to share, I request you to please discuss within yourself about what can be the opportunities for investors here, and what can be the challenges, and how can these challenges be overcome. And then might be we can get some questions from audience also after that. So firstly, I will, yeah.
Thank you. Sir, माझे नाव इंद्रनाथ मित्रा. I'm a management consultant on behalf of some foreigner clients who are in Goa. My first question is, this what was released today was a draft document. When do we get the final document?
Okay, this is a draft, and we particularly this is an interactive section, so that we collect more information, more suggestion, more comment, and if something is not required, all that you're supposed to share. And as Honorable Chief Minister said, that the perfect or the policy, investment policy will come after 1 month. Okay, after considering all, after evaluating all your suggestions.
So next question quickly is about software technology park. Do we have any concrete plan for software technology park, specifically software technology park in Goa? If so, when and where?
We have, yes, we have concrete plans in a sense. We have acquired a land of approximately 3 lakh square meters of area, and the infrastructure to be in place. The departments like PWD, road infrastructure, network, setting up the power station, all cabling, all these works have been simultaneously started, and we expect to get everything, all infrastructure done within 6 months' time. And at the same time, we are trying to invite all those investors not to waste the time until we start and we get completed the infrastructure. Whichever things which can simultaneously go, we are looking at that also. And all activities like creating, building infrastructure is in process. I'll ask our IT director, madam, to throw a light on that.
Apart from what Chairman ITG praised you, see the Software Technology Park of India, it has to set up its office in the identified software technology park which we are going to come up with. So they have already seen the site, and they are proposed to set up office in Goa. So that procedure we have done, and once we give them the land in our proposed IT park, they'll set up their kind of building in which they can house these startups to begin with. I think we are almost in that stage.
We can request DG.
Yes, I think Software Technology Park Authority, DG, will be in a better position.
Well, just director has just elaborated that chairman has just said that they have acquired a lot of land and land is under development, and he has just impressed upon that simultaneously we should also scout for the investors, work with them and invite them to invest in Goa in that identified STPM Software Technology Park area. As far as STPI is concerned, the government of Goa has already committed us 3 acres of land, and then we had a discussion with the government of Goa, and we are ready to start our operation right from the beginning in any other place till such time that our infrastructure is developed in that identified location. What we are trying to do is that we will be setting up our internet service and data center for the IT companies, startup companies, small companies, and at the same time we'll also start our incubation space for, of course, for smaller companies and startup companies, and we'll start operating from the day one in Goa. And during the intervening period, by the time that we could develop our full-fledged office in Software Technology Park, Government of Goa, that is going to take almost 2 years' time. And in the intervening period, as I said, we will start operating from any space that will be provided by the Government of Goa. I am sure that the kind of land that has been identified by the Government of Goa, said to be more than 200 acres of land at nearby highway, and other portion of land perhaps in the city. I am sure that with this, if we are able to scout and bring few anchor companies, then going by the demography of Goa and going by the trend of IT industry, creation of about 10,000 to 20,000 jobs in times to come within 4 or 5 years won't be that difficult. And I am sure that that will set the tone of a continuous perpetual growth and job creation for the Government of Goa by IT industry.
So I have a question for Mr. Rajiv Vaishnav. Sir, you chaired a very interesting session on gaming industry, and you have various eminent industry speakers from there in that panel. I would like to ask you, what is your plan for putting up gaming industry in Goa or what are you expecting from government on that part?
I think gaming industry is very keen to look at Goa in a sense that the kind of feedback that we have received from the delegate members, they are all very excited. It's a matter of time now when the draft policy, as sir has indicated, that will become a firm policy. What is more important, as we have seen in other states also, that having a great policy is just the beginning. I think the implementation of that policy, where visibly people will see that whatever are offers or whatever the policy offers is being implemented. And once we get that, because these are all young, small entrepreneurs, they are not the ones who have a huge experience of setting up offices and things like that. And therefore, they would expect a kind of a single window approach, a kind of a cooperation, help to establish their requirements. On top of it, parallelly, we will have to work on identifying talent for them. So I think a lot of initiatives industry also will have to take to make this happen. And this partnership is going to fulfill the dream. We are also trying to make sure that we are bringing this, our annual event, which is NASSCOM Game Developers Event, to Goa, and thereby create excitement around the locals of Goa that this is one industry where there is an opportunity and they should be looking at how they can work in this industry. And I think if everything falls in place, we will see a great amount of traction from the gaming and animation industry as far as Goa is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Though I am a host partner, we are the event partner along with the Goa government, with the organization Alerts. But I have a small question. 2-3 times I visited the office of TIT, and I find that its own infrastructure needs to be improved a bit. So do you have any plan to, because when the investors goes to the office, those investment policies has to be a little improved. Do you have any plan?
Okay, that's nice thing. Unless you have set up your own house, you invite all others to set their house in place. It's a good thing, that good question also. We have a very good large building which is coming up, and it is nearing for completion within another 3 months. We'll be inaugurating it, and we will have our own data center too in that building, and all other the infrastructure required, and to address the and to show the confidence that yes, we are well settled, and it is not that temporary arrangements are being made. You will have all comforts, and you need not worry about that, because the work of new building premises had started long back, 2 years back, and taking into consideration and the requirement for next another 20 years down the line, we will have well equipped our own premises.
That is very important, because you will appreciate then when the investors would be coming and when they visit the department, and that kind of good atmosphere will certainly build a lot of confidence to the investors as such.
The point is well taken. We should not forget those who build houses and roofs for us, they generally don't have pakka houses for themselves.
There's one question from the tables at the back.
Hi, Jarvis Pereira, Director of JITIC. Just a question, is there also an avenue being looked at to provide more internet? We had the previous session on smart cities, but internet connectivity going to the interiors as well? Just an open question out there.
Would you please clarify your question? You want to know about the internet connection in the proposed site, or
actually beyond just the proposed site, because with each central location that you have, it is going to keep expanding. But with its current situation, will we also have better connectivity across
Okay, I think as discussed in the morning, we have broadband connectivity up to village panchayats,
Okay.
up to 1 Gbps bandwidth. And of course, there are some schemes in pipeline which would take up these connections up to village level also.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
No, we have very strong, and 10 Gbps is not this thing. We have 10 Gbps connectivity up to the village level, and then onwards it is 1 Gbps, and we can literally connect to each and every house if we start the process also within a year's time. So you need not, the investors should not have a doubt about all these things. I feel that Goa is the only state having this kind of infrastructure. It's a very huge infrastructure which is built, and we do not find the traffic to go on. It is just in place, and we invite all the investors to go into and roll out more services so that we can utilize the big highways which are created in terms of connectivity.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much, Mr. Faldesai.
Thank you. I'll also request to tell your name and your organization before asking the question.
Hi, this is Nagendran. Just want to check what are the investments that are being done to build the capacity in terms of people and their knowledge around IT industry within Goa?
See, capacity building, as of now, we have about 2,000 graduates from a very high standard colleges, graduates, B graduates in computer science, in information technology, electronics. We have good colleges in Goa, and we produce good talented graduates which have proven all over the world. And to answer your question in specific, that in a particular area more capacity building is required, and as and when we look at the kind of industries they come here, it will not take a longer time to have a capacity building, and we are in the process to train. In fact, there is a scheme, ESDM, to train the workforce before any industry is being set up, and we have put our proposals with the central government, and central government funded schemes we are going to utilize it to train and for capacity building also.
We have a question at that table. Okay.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, this is Bhuvanesh. I represent Jaibhuan Group. There is one question directly to the STPI director. Are we looking at any tax exemptions in terms of income tax if we relocate our industry in the IT park?
In fact, income tax benefits were available only by March 2011.
Okay.
And such benefits are still available in SEZ, Special Economic Zones only, not in STPI scheme. But other benefits like CST reimbursement, like zero import duty for your capital goods, and other such benefits, they are still available, but income tax benefit is no more available.
Okay, so that's not available. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, then.
I'm Felizardo D'Souza of NIBA Institute of Technology here in Panjim. Now that you have discussed about capacity building, since you will decide what training will be coming after the decision of investors to set up their business here, how do we as a technical institute invest earlier for this training?
Could you please repeat your question?
The capacity building you are deciding after the investors come in. Okay, that will take some time, correct? In this time, you want the training to be imparted to the students here. But to focus on which areas that we as institutes have to invest, that will be a question mark.
Yeah, there are 2-3 areas which we are looking for the investor to invest. One is software, other one is hardware, the third one is network, the kind of industry that comes in, because we will have graduates, we will have other theory part completed workforce with us. And as regards to a specific requirement, we got to train them in that. In general training, we have identified areas wherein we can put them on any of the industry. But as specific to the need of a particular industry, we will seek opinion of that investor, and we will start training by the time they complete their housing. Okay? Is it? Yeah. You got my answer?
Yeah, but on what way of allocation will be that you to decide to whom you will give the training capacity?
See, whoever is interested and whoever is already passed out from that stream, let us say a software, who has passed out his BE graduation in software development or computer science, and who is interested to go ahead with the career in software development, we will provide them hands-on training. That is a small portion of which he will be lagging. First is aptitude towards this. So areas has to be selected. That is a choice of a candidate to go in. We will have various courses, okay, small-term courses, which we will be focusing on. So generalized, we have identified some of these areas for ESDM purpose. ESDM, basically it would be a more like hardware. And in these areas, hardware and network, we have identified the areas, and we have put our proposals with the central government. So those courses will get started very soon. Okay, as regards to specialized courses in software development, a particular database, or as regards to that, we will have our own in due course of time.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Gautam. Hello, here. Question to Mr. Rajiv Vaishnav. Now we are talking about gaming. Now, other than just software development, there are other avenues like gaming or 2D to 3D conversion. So this kind of investors may come in. Now, if you talk about gaming, what is the kind of qualification is you are looking at for?
So I think there is always a question, egg first or chicken first, and that is where I think these questions will come. The fact is that as far as gaming sector or animation sector is concerned, I think the issue is not as much as what sir was mentioning about hardware and software industry, because here the initial requirements will be gradually growing, so that will be slow, and therefore we may get people who are passionate about, and this particular industries are such that they thrive more on passion than on qualification. So sometimes you will find that the guy who is developing a game may not have the required qualification, but has a huge competence because of his passion and the way he gets at it. So all these things, as even the earlier question, that currently whatever the capacity that we have, there are certain standard expectations by the industry that they are looking for following kind of qualifications. And for that, we have a ready-made workforce available. NSDC has a lot of thoughts on this. There is a sector skill council. NASSCOM is a sector skill council for IT and BPL. FICCI is a sector skill council for animation. The entertainment segment where people like Ashish Kulkarni, who was there in the morning, are contributing. So as the institutions, academia will start working not only with the state government, but also with NSDC and the sector skill council in those areas. And that's what during the break we had a couple of such discussions, that how we can bring this alignment of the academia working with Sector Skill Council to prepare themselves. There are qualification packs, there are multiple such dimensions that Sector Skill Council has already worked on. So it's a matter of time that we realize that the investment flow in the state is going to be in this particular vertical predominantly. And then what are the needs that they have that we have to fulfill from the academic side. Normally when you see, there is always a two positioning. So industry is saying that academia is not able to give us what we want. And they claim that there is a gap between the output of academia and input required by the industry. When we ask the industry as to what are the asks, what do you expect academia to do it? They say we want a strong foundation. So once the strong foundation is there, the balance customization, we will do it at our end. So I think it's a kind of a give and take situation where the quality improvement in academia and some initiative from the industry to collaborate with academia will resolve this issue. And once we have a clarity in terms of the final policy, the direction in which the industry is showing interest, I think we will have to work faster than before to make sure that there is an alignment and the requirement is fulfilled predominantly through the local supply of talent rather than expecting talent to come from outside, because that will put, if not too much, some sort of an equilibrium that we will have to establish. And the idea of a great policy is to generate local employment, and therefore the onus lies between the industry and academia as to what way we want the talent to hone themselves in order to meet with the industry requirement, be it gaming, be it animation, be it hardware, ESDM or software.
Yeah, so somebody is done just as a 12th pass out and something like a finishing school could fit in the kind of a job which you're...
I'm not saying that. One can't generalize. See, these are all matter of details. So it is not that somebody. Who is that somebody? And when I talk of passion, I'm talking of individuals. I'm not talking of... So Rajesh Rao, when he was sitting here, he is the founding member of the gaming industry in the country. And he had a similar view. He was saying that what we are seeing is, and of course you need to have certain understanding of technology. But the rest also will fall on how you want to pursue your career. And if you seriously want to pursue your career so there are students from, what we do is we organize this school hackathon. So we go to schools and we ask the students to work on, build your own games. And you will be surprised, children of 9th standard, 10th standard, girls of 7th, 8th standard, they have come out with some beautiful games. And we wonder that here they are not even qualified to make a game and still they are able to make it. So I think it all depends upon what is the exposure that the child has got or a student has got and where his passion lies. So we will not be able to generalize it that, okay, non-technical students also will be able to get into animation or gaming, or for that matter any vertical, except if it is a voice BPO kind of a thing where the process is explained and the person can perform. So we will have to get into those kind of details in terms of the skills mapping that we will have to do with the industry.
Thank you.
We cannot take so many questions, but we have one question from that side.
Excuse me, my name is Ashish Kulkarni. I am the chairman of FICCI Animation Gaming Forum. In fact, before asking a question, I would like to answer the last question that he was asking. Rajiv did a great job, but I would like to tell you from the industry that as far as 2D, 3D conversion or animation is concerned, gaming requires technical skills to a great extent. But in animation, we require a foundation of either arts or storytelling or any other thing. Even if a person has not gone to the school but is a great artist, we test them on basic skills and we take them and we teach the rest of the things to them very easily. So I think, while we are working on the Media and Entertainment Skill Council and a lot of other areas, we basically see that people who have any inclination on artistic skills and creative skills, we we try to take them into the studios by giving a simple test. In fact, sir, my question to you is that we are talking about creating an art village in Goa, which is a very ambitious project. I want to know in terms of, because it's a big project, more than 1,000 acres, whether we have a single window clearance for converting that into a township. It has got a production SEZ, it's got film city, it's got residential, it's got about several universities and a big retail for the art forms. It's a complete ecosystem and a performance city. So how do I actually deal with and how we go forward in this? That's my first part of the question. The second part of the question is that today's draft policy that we have seen, there is in last sentence that is said that special incentive other than the above are for companies creating 1,000 or more employment or with 1,000 crore investment. Sir, I would like to bring to your notice is that in our industry, 97% of the people have never gone for formal education, and 86% of our industry is self-employed. So what happens is that if we have to really have policy which will be an inclusive policy for most of them, we need to really see that this big barrier would actually have very less takers. So if we can actually relook at that and see if we can make it more inclusive for independent producers and ideas, because that's independent ideas becomes very big in our industry. And I think if given a chance, we would like to explain you that. But this will become a very big hindrance for our industry to come into this area.
Basically, we included this AVGC as a part of ITS on the insistence of NASSCOM. The states like Karnataka and Maharashtra, who are almost at the 4th level of policy making, they have understood the importance and they are in a position to promote this AVGC. But when we had the discussion with NASSCOM, they told us that this is the kind of upcoming field. We were convinced about it, and we have just added one line in our objectives and strategies. But we are serious about promoting AVGC because of Goa being a hub of art and culture. So, but we are in continuous discussion with NASSCOM as to how to come up with a separate AVGS policy, so as to but depending upon how much response we get, that is the situation. But other incentives other than the special incentives can be availed by AVGC as a small scale unit.
No, your suggestions, see, if it is not, if you are not satisfied with this and you feel that this kind of industry's requirement is not addressed in IIT draft, then always you can give a suggestion. We'll have an interaction with the IIT director, and as far as possible, we will try to accommodate your suggestions also and come out in the final inclusive of all inclusive. Okay. We appreciate that you have answered the question also. It is the passion, and it is, I think you got the answer, because every time we have to customize it and then finally look for this. And it is not always that a person who has passed out computer science or information technology will be only a software or a professional. Anybody from that, for that matter, a mechanical engineer can also opt for that. And the trend is that today, if you have a passion, if you have an aptitude for that subject and liking, and if you put in, then that is more than. Sometimes the computer engineers also are not keen on going to go for that kind of profession. So it is a passion. And it really doesn't matter what qualification in what field, and we have really gone through the initial process of this. So it is finally the passion. Anybody else, please?
Final one questions we are question we are taking, then we will be closing with the kind permission of Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Hi, myself Milind Danvekar. I am Vice President Software Development at Open Destinations Infotech based in Goa. Question is, firstly, it's good to know that we are having an IT policy draft in place, and within 30 days, I understand we will have a policy in place. That's good to know. The question would be, is the new policy that we have applicable to or limited to the new IT park that we are proposing, or is it also the benefits also going to get extended to the people around 150 plus registered big or small IT companies in Goa, or will they have to relocate themselves to the park to avail the benefits? That's one. Second one is we already have an investment policy for Goa. So will that be amended to factor in this new IT policy that we have, so that the IT investments are probably looked at differently? And the last question is, in 2005 we had an IT policy, and then it's probably something that we have been living with. It got scrapped at some point of time. What is an assurance or the commitment from the team here to make sure that this policy will be in place and put in place and will be effective and will be honored?
Yeah, the reply to your first question. Basically, these incentives are available to all those IT, ITS, ESDM and ESDM units setting up in this notified IT, ITS area in Chimbal and Tuve. But there was a discussion, and other software companies and these startups needs to be identified, and there is a discussion going on, and we have to work out the modality. We cannot leave, they cannot be left out.
On this issue, I have had a discussion with Honorable Chief Minister, who is also IT ministers. We just cannot discriminate you, the people who have already invested and have their setup. So we would try to accommodate you. We will have a discussion. All those who have IT setup already in Goa, we cannot discriminate that, and we will not. We'll do justice. Whatever your requirements are there, and how best we can accommodate you and fit you in the new policies also. But basically, as our director has said, these are meant for the sites which we have identified. The policy is made for that. It is. We would address your, kindly give your suggestions also, and we will try to accommodate in that. Okay, we will have a longer, lengthy discussion on that, and we will try to accommodate all those who have IT setups in Goa.
Let me allay your fears. 2005 policy might have failed, but this is a well-defined draft which is before you. You all are witness to it. And this has been already circulated to cross-section of various, investors throughout the country. And I'm sure the commitment of the government is very well reflected in the sense that 2 important locations have been identified for setting up IT parks and ESDM cluster. So this policy is very, very clear. It talks of a lot of incentives, and I'm 100% sure this is going to stay, and it will not have the same fate as it was met by 2005 policy.
Thank you very much. With the kind permission from Honorable Session Chair, we would like to close this session here. As at around 6 o'clock, Honorable Railway Minister of Railways of India is to arrive at the venue. So, with many thanks to our Session Chair, Shri Subhash Phaldesai, Chairman Infotech Corporation Goa Limited, for his answers to the queries, very flawless, and frankly he answered all the queries. And also we thank Honorable Chief Secretary, Secretary IT, Mr. Rajiv from NASSCOM, and none other than DG STPI, Dr. Omkar Rai. I request Shri Subhash Phaldesai, Chairman Infotech Corporation Goa, to kindly present mementos to our esteemed panelists for this very crucial session on investment opportunities and challenges in Goa especially. Sir, I request you to present a memento to Honorable Chief Secretary of Government of Goa. A round of applause for these eminent personalities in, and then Honorable Secretary IT, Srimati Shilpa Shinde, Department of Information Technology, Goa. Shri Omkar Rai, Director General, Software Technology Parks of India. Shri Rajiv Vaishnav, Vice President, NASSCOM. And to our guest, Dr. Omkar Rai, Director General, STPI, I request him to present a memento to Chairman, Infotech Corporation, Goa. Thank you very much, eminent panelists, and I request you for a group photo.